people. And right now we've got a middle class that feels squeezed, that's falling behind, and we have to deal with it in Washington. And the only way we're going to deal with it is if we come together and find common ground.
Michigan Senator Gary Peters is moving into his new office here on Capitol Hill. This time, it's on the Senate side. What's on your personal legislative agenda? You were in the House, now you're in the Senate, and you're representing the entire state this time.
Well, my agenda is always the same, and that's about jobs. It's about moving Michigan's economy forward. There isn't anything more important than that, helping middle-class families in our state. I'm going to serve on the Commerce Committee here in the Senate, which basically has jurisdiction for the economy, the auto industry in particular, something that I'm focused on to make sure we get good-paying manufacturing jobs.
And leads you to the same, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which you're about to enter. So help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, man.
13 new senators took oath today, including Michigan's first new senator in 14 years, Gary Peters. The senator takes over for Carl Levin, who is retiring after 36 years in the Senate.
Peters says he'll make a point of reaching across the aisle to work with Republicans in the Senate, much as his predecessor, Senator Carl Levin, often did.
Senator Gary Peters makes a stop in Genesee County as part of the new senator's economic listening tour, meeting with businesses, educators, and workers from different parts of Michigan to learn how he can best represent them in Washington.
Gary Peters made a stop in mid-Michigan today. Peters visited the Volunteers of America in Lansing, and he had a first-hand look at what the VOA is doing to help our state's homeless veterans.
So we have been visiting with various companies across Michigan. We've been at universities. We've been with community groups. You have to be accessible, and it never stops as issues are changing. And it's a big state. There are a lot of people to get to know and an awful lot of people to listen to.
U.S. Senator Gary Peters introduced his first bill as a member of the Senate today. It's a measure aimed at saving money by pushing the federal government to use remanufactured parts for government vehicles.
Touring North American fuel systems remanufacturing, Peters says that companies like this can benefit greatly by the federal government using remanufactured parts to maintain its massive fleet of vehicles.
What we're seeing here in West Michigan with this North American facility is that they are able to create state-of-the-art remanufactured parts, cheaper for the taxpayers, while creating good-paying jobs here in Michigan.
A bill to improve mental health care and provide more suicide prevention resources for military men and women, both those at home and in the service, is on the way to the president now.
Michigan U.S. Senator Gary Peters is one of the co-sponsors of the bill.
It is an absolute tragedy that we are facing right now in our country, where we have just an incredible statistic. It's been estimated that 22 veterans each and every day commit suicide in this country. It's simply unacceptable.
Senator Gary Peters helped introduce legislation extending tax credits for small businesses that employ military reservists. Senator Peters teamed up with the Republican senator from Iowa, Joni Ernst, to introduce the bipartisan legislation
called the Military Reserve Small Business Jobs Act of 2015. It would extend the credit for 5 years, supporting small businesses while also helping provide financial security for reservists while on active duty.
Senator Gary Peters is part of a group sponsoring the Small Brew Act. The bill would cut the federal per barrel tax in half from $7 to $3.50. That would be big savings for all northern Michigan breweries.
Earlier this week, Democrat Gary Peters joined with several Republican senators in calling for the creation of a National Criminal Justice Commission.
Bottom line, and the way I look at this, we should not be even thinking about Democratic ideas and Republican ideas. We should just be thinking about ideas that are good for the country, ideas that are great for Michigan.
Newest push to end human trafficking in the United States is coming from a Michigan lawmaker. Senator Gary Peters was in Grand Rapids today talking about the new legislation that's moving forward.
We'll look at best practices all across the country, get those best practices together, and develop a curriculum, because it's my belief that every medical professional, physician and nurse, should get this training in nursing school or in medical school, and it should be part of the curriculum, because this is how we're going to be able to identify it.
Peters co-sponsored a bipartisan bill that has passed the Senate called the 2015 Trafficking Awareness Training for Healthcare Act. It would essentially give grants to a medical school that's experienced with studying and treating trafficking victims to work with law enforcement, social workers, and experts on how to best identify victims.
Hospitals and medical schools will be better equipped to identify victims of human trafficking under a bill that's currently making its way through Congress. Today, Spectrum Health hosted U.S. Senator Gary Peters and the director of the state's Human Trafficking Task Force.
The patients are hidden from us. The patients are coming in for reasons that don't seem like they're abuse, and that's why we have to learn how to recognize them.
This is not a problem that's far away. It's not a problem in another country. It's not in another state. It's right here in our own community.